Ladies and mostly gentlemen, today we're going to talk about reputations. Yes, more specifically, we'll be predicting the Paragon reputation rewards of Battle for Azeroth. So the Paragon reputation system is something that was introduced in Legion in patch 7.2. Basically, it's a way to make world quests and reputations relevant after Exalted, as it gives you a brand new bar to fill up, and at the end of that bar you get a reward cache, which has the chance to have some cool items or even a mount. Now currently there is no formal announcement of Paragon reputations in Battle for Azeroth, but it's more than likely that it's going to come along at some point, probably in patch 8.2, which I think will also bring Pathfinder Part 2 and flying in Zandalari and Kultiras, because you know, people are calling this Legion 2.0 or Legion 0.5 depending on how you feel about the expansion, and yeah, you know, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Now a few of these items and mount rewards are actually already in the game files, and even as items and even have rep requirements, but most of them were either removed from vendors in the beta or just never added for players, so some of the predictions are just simply speculation and wishful thinking, of course. Personally, I think a lot of these mounts were removed because of the lack of flying at the start of the expansion, so if they reward you with a flying mount, it kind of seems a bit pointless that you can't actually fly around Kultiras with it. Although that being said, they have actually given out some flying mounts as a reward for some of the Horde reputations at the start of the expansion. So let's start off with the Alliance and the Proudmoore Admiralty. Now this is the reputation of Tiragard's Sound. Their current mount reward is a horse, of course. You're going to get that, that's a running theme of this video. And the mount I think you're going to be rewarded from the Paragon chest is going to be the Reigns of the Proudmoore Sea Scout. Now this is the recolor of the Grand Griffin, which is a mount from Missa Pandaria, and it's a white variant of it with green armor. I think it looks great. You're going to see this mount a hell of a lot in this video, just spoilers, you know. But yeah, I think it looks cool. You actually get to ride around on this mount and a few of the other mounts I'm going to say in this video when you use flight paths in those zones, so that's a bit of a dead giveaway when it comes to some of these rewards. Potentially they were only added for flight points, but this one actually has an item with the requirement of being exalted with the Proudmoore Admiralty, and I believe it was added to the beta originally but then removed after launch. The next faction we're going to look at is the Order of the Embers, and I believe their reward will also be a griffin, and is the Reigns of the Dusky Waycrest Griffin. Now in-game this model is a dark variant of the Grand Griffin. It's got black armor, it's got kind of a purpley tinge on the wings. I think it looks great, and honestly I think this mount actually will be spectral as well, so if you use a flight path in Drustvar, you'll see that you do actually fly on like a kind of purpley spectral griffin, and I believe honestly this will be the mount. I think giving the players a regular griffin for the Drust stuff, I just don't think it will work, so I think it will have to be a spectral ghostly griffin to kind of match with the theme of the zone. This again is an item and requires Order of the Embers Exalted, so yeah, it's pretty much already there. The next faction we're going to look at is the Storm's Wake. These are the guys in Stormsong Valley, which is personally one of my favorite looking zones of the expansion. Now they already have a mount item in-game called the Reigns of the Stormsong Coastwatcher. This is a white and blue variant of the Grand Griffin. I think it does look great, but you know, I don't think it's going to be that. I really don't, and this is why. There is a bee mount in the game, ladies and gentlemen. It is a awesome looking mount. You can see the bees over in Stormsong Valley, and they do play a small part in the story of Stormsong Valley. Now, on the vendor for the Storm's Wake at Revered, you actually get a bee pet. Now, with the combination of the bee pet at Revered, it obviously opens the doors for them having some sort of, like, you know, connection with the bees. And yeah, I think placeholder bee mount, this is actually a spell in game. There's no current item for it. I really, really, really hope Blizzard, please give us the option to use this bee mount. It'll be completely wasted on the store or anything like that. I think it'll be perfect for the Storm's Wake, and it breaks up the kind of repetition of everyone having griffins for the Alliance. So yes, I think placeholder bee mount would be the fantastic mount for the Storm's Wake Paragon chest. Please make it happen. And finally, the 7th Legion. This is a reputation you get up to get your Dark Iron Dwarves, and they're a reputation that are based over in the opposite island, so the 7th Legion are based in Zandalari, and obviously they're an Alliance faction. Now, I think, personally, I'd love to see the Vicious Darkhound, which is a Dark Iron variant of the Vicious mounts. It looks bloody fantastic. I think, actually, that will end up being on the Vicious Vendor. There is another Vicious mount, which I think might actually be the mount for this faction, and it is the Vicious War Basilisk. And there are two variants of this, an Alliance and a Horde version, and yeah, I think honestly this will be the mount for the 7th Legion, and if we don't get a mount, I think it'll probably be some sort of toy where we spawn like an Alliance flag or something like that. Yeah, I think if we had to have a mount, it'll probably be the Vicious War Basilisk, which looks flippin' awesome, it really does. It's such a cool looking mount. I think it's a recolor of the mount from the Brawlers Guild, but yeah, it's a really cool mount, and I really hope that they go with that one. Okay, so now that's the Alliance done, and let's move on to the Horde reputations, and starting with the Zandalari Empire. Now this is the reputation of Zuldazar, and currently they have a Pterodax mount as their main mount, and there are actually 3 other Pterodax mounts in the game files with items and reputation requirements for the Zandalari Empire. Now the mount they actually used at launch was the Cobalt Pterodax, that's the one you can actually buy right now in game, but as I said, there are 3 others. So you have the Reigns of the Armored Albino, or Albino if you're wrong, Pterodax, you also have the Reigns of the Ebony Pterodax, and you have the Armored Orange Pterodax. Now there is 3 here. I think chances are we're only going to get one of them. I don't know specifically. It would be cool if we could get all 3, but I think that will kind of throw out the balance of the Horde and Alliance in this situation. I don't know which one. Let me know down in the comments which one is your favorite there. They're all very, very cool. They're all recolors, obviously, of the new Pterodax mount, which has been popping up through the Zandalari Empire and through some other means as well. Yeah, very cool mounts. I think beyond that, I really don't know what they would use for a Paragon mount for these guys. Maybe a Raptor of some kind? I honestly have no idea. Next is Talonges Expedition. This is the reputation out of Nazmir. Now, currently, the mount for them is the Blood Swarmer thing. You kind of see them all around Nazmir. The Blood Trolls use them quite a lot. There are a few recolors of that mount in the game, so potentially they could go with that, but I personally would love to see the Frog mount. Yes, the Frog mount. Now, this is called the Spawn of Kragwar, and it is actually an item in the game. Now, this mount is incredible. Look at the way it runs. I'm not jumping. This is not jumping around. This is literally how this mount runs. It is something else. It really is. And if they don't give this mount to players at some point during the expansion, it's just a plain waste. It really is. It's such a cool looking mount. It's obviously inspired by the Frog Glower. This was actually teased at BlizzCon as well. I believe they said you have to be friends with the Frog Glower if you want to get the Frog mount or something like that. Obviously that never really happened. But yeah, I think Spawn of Kragwar will be an absolutely amazing mount for the Talonges Expedition as a Paragon mount reward. And also, along with that, there is actually a frog pet that you get at Revered for the Talonges Expedition, giving you more implications of how they could potentially introduce this mount. Next up is the Vol'dunai. They are the Volpira characters from Vol'dun. Currently not playable, but potentially playable one day, you never know. Their current mount is the Alabaster Hyena. There are 2 other colors of the Hyena in the game files, and they actually do have spells as well. You have the Hyena mount White placeholder and the Hyena mount Black placeholder. Now, this would be cool. I think more Hyenas the better, but honestly, I think we're actually going to end up with the Vulture mounts. So if you've done the Vol'dun story, you've probably seen a few Volpira riding around on these Vulture mounts. There are actually 6 colors of this Vulture mount as well. You have the black, you have the blue-gray, dark brown, red, tan, and white, and this would be a really cool mount to give players for getting Paragon with the Vol'duni. Obviously, they'd have to only choose one of them, I would imagine, unless they just want to go all out and give players 6. There's currently no spell for it as well in the game, but obviously the model is there, and it's pretty much ready to go. You know, it doesn't take much to create a mount. And finally, for the Horde, the Honorbound. Now, as I said with the Alliance and the 7th Legion, I would love the Vicious War Basilisk. It's a really cool looking mount. I don't think there is any others. There is the Clefttooth mount, but I believe you get that through PvP at the moment, so that's just completely been wiped off there. And yeah, I think the Vicious War Basilisk for the Horde would be great for the Honorbound. If not, you know, maybe a toy that plants a Horde flag or something like that to kind of show off your faction pride with those guys. Now, the last part of the video, we're going to look at the neutral factions. They are the Champions of Azeroth and the Tortolan Seekers. These are factions that the Horde and Alliance both get reputations as well, so these will be rewards for everybody. So let's start off with the Champions of Azeroth. Now, I don't think they're going to give a mount. I don't think they're going to give a mount for this reputation. I think it'll probably be some sort of toy, and I think the toy might turn you into Diamond or something. It will be some... I really could see it being some sort of transformation item. I think turning into Diamond would be a really cool looking toy. Or possibly something with your Heart of Azeroth. Maybe you use the toy and you throw it up in the air, or you juggle with it, or you do something weird with your Heart of Azeroth. Honestly, I have no idea. This one was actually the hardest one for me to think of. But let me know if you have any suggestions for a Champions of Azeroth Paragon reward. I honestly have no idea what we could have. Finally, the Tortolan Seekers. These are a neutral faction, as I said, and they have a few little cool world quests similar to the Kirin Tor. And I honestly think this will be a mount reward. I really hope so anyway, because there is a mount model for an albatross. This is actually pretty much a recolor of the vulture mount, but yes, it's an albatross. So there are 4 colors for this. There are a brown, a white with gold feet, and a white with a pink beak. Now the albatross, you're thinking, why the hell is an albatross? Why would an albatross be a mount for the Tortolan Seekers? Haven't seen them riding around on it, it just seems a bit weird. Honestly, I couldn't imagine any Tortolan going on any sort of flying mount anyway, they'd just look a bit, you know, thick. But the albatross are actually related to the Tortolan Seekers, as they are the big birds that sweep the baby turtles away during the Beachhead world quest. And, you know, the cycle of life can really be cruel. And that is pretty much it, guys. That is my predictions of the Paragon reputation rewards for Battle for Azeroth. Now, let me know down below what you think of these suggestions, if you think I'm wrong on some of them, if you have any other suggestions for some of the reputations. I'd love to know. I would love it if they did give mounts for everyone, but I don't know. It'll probably end up being some toys, some mounts and stuff like that, but some of these mounts really would be cool, especially the frog and the bee mount. That'd be really awesome to see players running around on that. And yeah, so before I go, I'd like to give a massive shout out to my amazing patrons, YouTube channel members, and Twitch subs. You guys are awesome. And if you want to support the channel in any of those ways, links are down below. So leave a like on the video, guys, if you liked it, and subscribe if you haven't. I also have a partner Discord channel of over 3,000 members and a merch store over on Streamlabs, and I'm also now streaming on twitch.tv/MrGM pretty much every day, so links to all of those are down in the description below this video. And with that, I'll see you next time.